Fit, tulisan udah ada belum? Tulis film masuk. Ada sih. Ini dia.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
We carry on to our next training session with topics of smart cities funding, private-public partnership for smart city development, delivered by Mr. Luis Castella, smart cities planning expert, and also past director smart cities research and development in Argentina government. Mr. Luis Castella has joined us online. For Mr. Luis Castella, the screen and time is yours.
Well, thank you. Good morning. Here in Argentina is very early in the morning. Actually, it's night all now. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. So, well, thank you for this invitation. I am very glad to be here sharing with you my knowledge and my thoughts about smart cities, making smart cities here in Latin America. Well, this presentation or this conference is related with PPP or public-private partnerships. I will speak a little about the situation of smart cities here in Argentina. Can you hear me now? It's okay?
Yes, it is audible, sir.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Well, I will make a little speech, then if you want, you can make some questions. You know, Latin America has a very complex situation in their cities. We are one of the most urbanized regions in the world. Actually, 75% of population live in cities. We have a very fast process of urbanization in the last 40, 30, and 20 years. Actually, we are now living that process. And it was not a planned process. It was a very disorganized one. So our cities lack a lot of things. No, planning is the most important, but many other things like institutions, governance, infrastructure, well, many other things. The most important problems we are suffering here are related with insecurity, housing, environmental problems, infrastructure, but also we have governance issues, very important, related with how we can develop our cities. For us in the region, smart cities is not just a trend or a fashion, it's really a need. We need smart cities, no? With this concept that smart cities can transform reality and problems into solutions, no? That's the very important thing. And it's a little more than technology. It's also related with, well, intelligence I mean intelligence as a process of improving the quality of life, no? Where technology is just one component, but we have many other components important, no? Capabilities, for example. Well, so that's the problem. That's what we are living in the region, and the needs and the situation here. I have developed a framework. I work with cities here. I advise. I worked many years ago in the government. I developed a program for the federal government, a program related with the development of smart cities. I make many diagnoses and many strategic plans for cities from the government. Now I work as independent in the private sector, collaborating with cities and also with companies trying to develop in this industry of the smart cities. I developed a framework, I told you. That framework has 3 layers. No, we have the first layer, or the basic layer, is related with the physical aspects of the city, or the tangible aspects of the city. No, the infrastructure, government, but also society aspects. No, those elements that make the city, the existence of the city. Those are the traditional aspects, and here we have the most traditional projects also, or initiatives, no? For example, the streets, the water facilities, housing, also security. Those kind of projects are very are the traditional projects, or the traditional activities we learn and we know and we have in cities. We have another layer. I name it the intelligent layer, that it's more related with the technologies and in 2 ways, no? Infrastructure and information. When you speak about how to make projects, and when we refer to these PPP kind of projects, I think it's more common to refer to this kind of layers, no? The basic layer, the infrastructure layer, and the technological layer. We have technological companies that are very familiar making projects, selling or their products, like with a catalog, no, maybe, or with traditional business models. For example, the pay-per-use business model. I have a product, you need it, well, I sell it, you pay it. Those are traditional ways of making business with cities. But we have a third layer. I name it the smart layer. No, that layer is related not so much but with physical aspects or infrastructure, but it's more related with capabilities, soft capabilities, no, management, innovation, where talent is the most important element. So why I am telling you this? Because this kind of making projects like the PPP or other kind of forms or organizing projects are related with these more traditional aspects of making projects, and not so much related with this new way of seeing cities, these soft capabilities. I name it the smart layer, where you need time and you need not intuitive measures to develop, or capabilities to develop, and they are related with time and with management. No, so because why I am telling you this? Because, for example, in the region, we have different kinds of making this relationship between the private sector and the public sector. PPPs is a very new way of making these arrangements between the private sector and the public sector. I think we have an important future. We have important opportunities to develop and to explode in this way. But here, we have another kind of organization of the projects. We have here, for example, the agencies, development agencies. We have different kind of agencies, for example, for innovation or knowledge economy, or for example, for developing many environment related projects. It's a different kind of organization of these activities, but here is the most common way of making projects linking these private and public sectors. I think it's very interesting. I have seen many interesting experiences here, because here, when you have this kind of organization like the agencies, you combine different capabilities. For example, the private management activities and the public role of making or focusing in some projects or some activities. Maybe they are not profitable. So I think this is a very interesting way of making projects in this region, for example, maybe an example for other regions, because we combine these two elements when you didn't develop yet many capabilities, and the public sector has an important role leading the process of developing the smart cities. So this figure of the agency, I think, is very important. Maybe it's the first step to trying to develop or to explore or to expand this notion of making projects like the PPPs. PPPs are not very common here in the region, but I think we have an important future, and we have an important road to do here, trying to developing. I think I think an important element also to take into account is the notion of business models. Because when you analyze the business models, traditional business model, for example, as I mentioned, when you try to make a traditional projects or this in this physical layer, are, as I told you, the pay-per-use, for example, the most extended way of making projects or modelizing businesses. But when you need to develop capabilities like the smart cities requires, you need different business models. So, for example, business models where the revenue are not the most important element in the short range. For example, you need to develop capabilities, and this requires very hard work in the short and in the middle range to obtain revenues or results in the long range. So when you have not compatible business models between the public and the private sector, it's very difficult to try to develop PPPs. So I think business models is one important thing, notion we have to develop or we have to analyze to try to develop the PPPs. Companies, technological companies also, they move principally taking these traditional business models in her hand. And to develop smart cities, we need different kind of thinking and business models, totally disruptive, to try to develop those capabilities I am telling to you. So this is what I want to tell you. These are our experiences here in the region. Maybe you have some questions or you are interested in asking me many different aspects related with these things I am telling to you. I'm listening if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Luis Castella, for the remarkable materials.
Thank you.
We move on to our question and answer session, sir. We open the opportunity for on-site participants. For participants on-site like to convey the question, please raise your hand. Okay, it seems that we haven't got questions, sir, from the online, from the on-site participants. Then we have one question, sir, from the online participants. Good afternoon, Mr. Luis Castilla from Indonesia. I'm Marco, Informatics Engineering Institute Teknologi Bandung, Bandung Institute of Technology, Indonesia. I like to ask, sir, regarding to the PPP, public-private partnership. We do know that Indonesia has started this partnership recently, especially in big cities, Jakarta, Bandung, Surabaya, and so on. However, the monetizing or the circulatory economics for some projects seems stopped because from the programs, the economics inbound for the government or for the private sector, they didn't see its benefit for the projects ahead, since whenever they deploy the projects, the circulatory economics didn't run well. From your experience and projects, especially seeing Indonesia as developing countries, what you suggest to our problems? Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you for the question. Well, I think it's interesting. The issue you mentioned is related with that aspect. I want to remark. No, I think in developing countries, I think PPPs are also a trend or a fashion. Maybe because I had the experience here in our country, we developed this kind of making projects, the PPP, and we have no results because maybe people and institutions are not yet prepared to this kind of projects. So that's the reason I suggest agencies, development agencies, as a better way, and a better way also to try to change the culture. And to, for example, you mentioned that big cities in Indonesia were using this possibility. I think it's very important to define which kind of city are we working with. One thing is work with big cities with big budgets, with other kind of capabilities and possibilities, because PPPs require a certain kind of knowledge, and they are complex. They need complex tasks to be developed. They need soft capabilities. It may be difficult, and maybe we have to consider before other kind of making projects or organizing these projects, focusing first of all in trying to develop those capabilities. Maybe in a second step, PPPs may be a better possibility. But in the first step, maybe this kind of focusing or making the projects like the agencies may be the better choice, I think.
Thank you so much, sir. We are currently seeking for the questions. Okay, we have one question left, Mr. Luis Castilla. It's coming from Miss Nana, University of Indonesia. Good afternoon, Mr. Luis Castilla. I'd like to ask, we do know that Indonesia is currently facing rapid population growth, that we also know whenever we develop the system, we have to develop the people themselves. Looking at PPP collaboration and opportunity ahead, what PPP could give solution for the smart system or public growth in terms of development, knowledgeable development in Indonesia, or maybe recent experience from your projects? Thank you, Mr. Luis Castilla.
Well, thank you for the question. I think PPPs are very useful in the first layer of developing smart cities, the physical layer, as I told you, the basic layer. No, as I told in the beginning of the speech, we have three layers. No, the basic aspects of the city, government, society, and the habitat. No, The second layer is technologies, no, and the third layer is the smart layer, most related with innovation. I think PPPs are very useful in this first layer with the traditional projects. In this, or maybe in the situation you tell me about Indonesia, no, in the first steps of developing smart cities, when you have to work hard developing the infrastructure or the elements that compose the city. The second layer, technologies, are also a very useful field for PPPs. Technologies, infrastructure. I think technological companies around the world may be interested in that kind of projects. The problem is in the third layer, but if you don't develop capabilities, you can access the third layer, the smart layer. So you have to develop another different kind of projects there, or maybe different kind of complexity of PPPs there. So like for a country like Indonesia, and also Latin America, this first layer, developing the basic infrastructures, is the best field, I think, for PPPs. The other layers, you have to study very well these things I was telling, no, about the capabilities and the complexity you need, or the city may have or not, or need to develop to become, or to get inside that field of PPPs.
Okay, thank you, sir. Wonderful. That was the end for our question and answer session. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's give warm applause to Mr. Luis Castiela. Thank you so much, Mr. Luis Castiela, and good afternoon from Indonesia.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you for the invitation. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, we carry on to our next agenda, which is closing session. Unfortunately, for the last training session delivered by Dr. Fadil Hidayat with topics of smart city solutions for safety and security could not be given today. However, the materials will be sent to your email, especially participants' email or representative emails from the institutions from our committee. Ladies and gentlemen, we also would like to remind that we still have our final program, which is tomorrow's program, the visit to Bandung Command Center and SCCIC ITB Living Lab. So for those of the representatives, you may list your representative for today's program. Untuk Bapak Ibu hadirin sekalian, boleh setelah acara memberikan nama yang akan mewakili mengikuti acara kunjungan ke Bandung Command Center serta Living Lab ITB PIKKC. The honorable ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the final part of our program. We do hope all training today will guide us in innovating solutions for smart cities challenges ahead. We kindly remind you that tomorrow we still have our final program. The final program conducted tomorrow is the visit to Bandung Command Center and SCCIC ITB Living Lab. Selected participants are welcome to be involved in the program. We also remind all participants to fill the attendance form. The attendance form is dropped at Zoom chat for online participants and through group chat for on-site participants. On behalf of the committee, thank you for your great enthusiasm and participation of today's program. Lastly, good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Recording stopped.